Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So there's a bunch of issues I want to cover in this video. Namely, enchantments giving 1600 item level, when it was said they should only give 1500. People not being able to access the game. There should be an emergency fix just going out around this time that hopefully will fix it. Something got pushed out from the server side that made it impossible for people to actually log in. There was always going to be a patch error when you tried. Luckily, I wasn't affected by this issue, but many were, and they'll probably make a make good for those impacted players. You may have seen already, the weapon drops for the new trial were dropping as unbound. People were able to sell them to each other for millions and millions. They did disable it from being able to be posted on the auction house recently. They disabled it from being able to transfer it between players, like trading, etc. They failed to fix being able to trade via the guild bank, but yeah, anyway, so it's not intended that they are unbound, and they'll be working on a fix that they hope to deploy in the near future. Still a plethora of other bugs, like the assassin dealing over 2 damage when you stack them, the spider key from the Northdark reaches still not being able to be purchasable by some players. You get this exact bug right here: I can't buy my key, I didn't buy it today. But let's go back to the new enchantments. You can see I have them here on 1600 item level, which you might think is completely weird. And the way it's working is, normally when you go to upgrade one of them, so we have an aquamarine here. Yeah, it's on green, it shows 300 item level, so that's the same item level as the other versions on green, the single stat ones. So we upgrade it to mythic, and you will note that it also only says it has 1500 item level. So how are we getting the 1600? Well, by very simply going to our claimed valuables, scrolling to the left there, and we can trade in this enchantment we just created, this aquamarine. Trading it in allows us to just refresh that and go and reclaim it. Upon reclaiming it, you can now see it has 1600 item level. I've had people reporting this across Xbox, PS, that this is not just a PC like previous server issue. Yeah, it's a real thing. Definitely not intended as they were intended to be launched only on 1500, like you saw when I upgraded it. Before trading it in, it only had 1500. But now it has 1600. Check my item level, 83,254. We slot the aquamarine, and it's increased by exactly 100. So the item level from the enchantment is affecting my total item level and my base damage. Again, like we remove this, we switch it out to a citrine. You can see our item level has dropped, our base damage has dropped, and we go slot the aquamarine. We get the extra 100 item level and base damage. So it's kind of broken right now that you could go and trade them in and claim them like that. However, I do not recommend doing this. It's a bug. It's most likely going to get changed and their item level drop down for all those affected. But who knows, it could end up like Legacy and they just never get around to changing it. But it's a very costly endeavor if you wanted to do this to gain that little bit of an item level advantage. We could gain a total of 900 item level by doing this, by getting one of these in each of our slots. Do I recommend it? Not at all. I don't recommend getting these enchantments. I don't recommend upgrading them. They're a complete waste. I'll explain why. And it's got to do with the statistics. But let's finally upgrade this one to mythic, and now we can have a full set of like the new enchantments. Just putting them in there and we get that. We'd be much better off with like a ruby and utility than the others. Now, if we check the stats on these enchantments, you can see they're pretty garbage. As a damage dealer, not so bad. Aquamarine, accuracy, crit severity. Sapphire, combat advantage, critical strike. The ruby, power and accuracy. That's alright. As a tank, it's whatever. Offense stats don't really matter. You do want to focus on power and combat advantage though. And none of them here is going to give you only power and combat advantage. So not ideal. You'd be better off with, like a garnet or an amethyst with the pure stats there for the extra damage. But at least you'd gain the 100 item level, which is a little bit more hit points. As for a healer, you can see these enchantments are pretty rotten. Accuracy, crit severity. You're getting accuracy, which is a waste. Sapphire, combat advantage, crit strike. You're getting combat advantage, a waste. The ruby, you're getting power and accuracy. Accuracy again, a waste. So terrible enchantments for a healer for offense. So let's move to defense, right? An aquamarine in defense. Critical avoidance and deflection. Garbage. You don't want that deflection. As a tank, you don't want it. And as a DPS or a healer, you want survivability. You don't want the deflection either. Crit avoidance, not so bad. Then the sapphire. You get awareness and deflect severity. Again, the deflect, get out of here. You don't want the deflect severity. Terrible for survivability. Awareness, yeah, pretty good. And the ruby, you get defense and deflection. Again, here with the deflection, not any good. Get out of here. And so it's not great. So as a tank for defense, you're not gaining good stats. My point of view here is that a tank should just be getting defense, awareness, critical avoidance, and then incoming healing and hit points. And forget about deflect and deflect severity. It's an utter waste. The only time it's good is if you're taking a lot of small hits and you want to be having the chance to deflect them. But in terms of reliable survivability, you just want defense, awareness, critical avoidance, incoming healing to help your healers heal you, and then maximum hit points. And that is it. You have those 5 stats to focus on. You don't need deflect and deflect severity at all. So I would not run these new enchantments in your defensive slots. As a healer and a DPS, I would not either, because you're just actually reducing your survivability by gaining pretty useless defensive stats. Yes, again, you can gain a little bit of item level. You will be sacrificing survivability for that item level, which can help you deal a little bit more damage and heal a little bit more. So there is that. You are, again, just sacrificing survivability. And in utility, you could run a Sapphire, Forte, and Control Resistance. The Control Resistance, utterly useless. Throw in an Aquamarine, Control Bonus, Outgoing Healing. The Control Bonus, absolutely useless. And then throw in your Ruby, Forte, and Incoming Healing. Actually somewhat useful. You could use that as a tank. But again, it's not the best because you could just run pure incoming healing here as a tank. You could run pure Forte as a DPS, and you could run pure outgoing healing as a healer. And that would all be better than these double stats. So you can see all of these enchantments, these dual stat enchantments, are not good on a healer and not good on a tank. The only place they are good is in offense for a DPS. So personally, I would not invest in these enchantments whatsoever unless you solely want to play DPS in Neverwinter and never go to play a healer or a tank. Unless you're super rich and want to upgrade multiple sets of enchantments, which I do not recommend. Get one set of enchantment that you can fit on all your characters and you're good. I personally run with 4 Jades, 4 Garnets, and a Citrine. And those enchantments I run with on all my builds. Healers, tanks, DPS. And I only need this one set of enchantments, these 9. And I no longer need to upgrade anything more. There are some situations where it's not perfectly ideal. So that's my overview of these enchantments, along with, the bug that you can obtain them on 1600 item level. I do not recommend it, guys. I do not recommend it at all. People are still going to do it because they want that extra item level edge for like the new trial, and they just want to look good there in their item level, get their base damage really high. I mean, in fairness, but you've been warned. You've been warned. This is a bug. It's not intended at all. They're supposed to have 1500 item level and be not much different at all to the single stat enchantments. What they do have different, on a last note, is the total amount of stats you gain through these is slightly higher than what you'd have with a single stat. However, we're kind of stuffed full of ratings. Check this recording here. I'm trying to balance stats and we just have a ton of ratings. At least on a wizard, we got that 90% crit severity, so there's no point in trying to max out our crit severity rating, and that's not even using the crit severity boots, the ones for the seals. And I'm trying to switch between what enchantments to use. I'm trying to use the new ones because this is the preview server. I can spend as much as I want. But look how many extra ratings we have. We're even using ferocity. We got the new mounts there with the new insignias. We're trying to switch things out to like dominance to give us forte to try and fix those. And yeah, because of the new auras with regards to giving us like pack tactics, mystic aura, runic aura, they all give us so many ratings that at this point in the game, you can see the gear I'm running with, we have just so much. You do not need the extra teeny bit that the new enchantments can provide you. And really guys, it's such a teeny bit. Special thank you again to all of these channel members. And if I presented this well and it was somewhat insightful to you guys, consider leaving the video a like. And if you're new around here, consider subscribing. I'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.